Can you believe that we are 5 years into the life cycle of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S? Well, it's such a stupid naming convention for their potentially final console. But now that we're getting so far into that life cycle and how both consoles have at least seen or have had rumors, did that cylindrical Xbox ever come to fruition? I remember it was announced a couple of years ago, but did we ever see that in a Pro installment? Because we've seen the PS5 Pro come and go, this time last year, and literally nobody bought it, but it's going to be setting up for the future of PlayStation. But we'll get to that in a second, because I want to focus on Xbox and what they're doing next. And we've talked about this, and it really became patently obvious earlier this year when they decided to rise the price of everything that they were doing in regards to consoles. Now, of course, Sony did that recently as well, but it was only on consoles. And no, I'm not sweeping for Sony, because I still think that it's stupid, because there's only so much tariff fear-mongering that you can get away with, and at this point in time it's just so terribly passé. But the Xbox next generation system could cost significantly more than the PlayStation 6 due to the Magnus APU and the potential support of third-party stores that would deprive Microsoft of the 30% cut on every game sold on the system. Like I said before, and when we were talking about this, when the price increases were announced a couple months back, Xbox doesn't really want to sell consoles anymore. They still want to put one out there in order to have, a little bit of a footprint in the industry, but they want to sell Game Pass. They want to become another store on every console. That's why their marketing campaign from last year, this is an Xbox, that is an Xbox, your game console is an Xbox, your Switch is an Xbox, your PlayStation is an Xbox, your toaster is an Xbox. Everything can be an Xbox because Microsoft just wants their software on your system, regardless if it's their plastic box or not. So yeah, that's why they can get away with charging so very much for their upcoming systems. And now people are starting to notice. This is from GameSpot. Xbox had a Sega-like fork in the road and may stop making consoles, ex-PlayStation boss says. Former PlayStation boss Sean Layden said that he believes Microsoft is at a fork in the road in questioning whether the business will keep releasing consoles. Speaking to GI.biz, Layden said that there's certainly being more console generations to come, but Microsoft may not be a part of the story. Watching what Xbox has been doing recently, I do get the Dreamcast flashbacks. Oh shit, I think Sega realized that they were just better off being a software house. I think Microsoft is at that same sort of fork in the road, and I don't think their hardware offering is persuasive enough to make up for the ground that they've lost. So yeah, even if they do come out with something powerful, you take a look at the games that they're putting out there, and honestly, like their first party offerings, if they're not getting delayed until 2030 at this point in time, Fable, they're getting outright canceled. High Perfect Dark, and yeah, they're just putting out the rest of their stuff on other consoles. Like I heard really good things about that Gears of War update, or I'm sorry, a remake rather, reboot, whatever they did. I think it was a ground up remake. But anyways, yeah, everything that I heard about that is, it runs pretty good on PS5, and boy, it's sure weird to be tapping R1 to do active reloads. It's just not something that you'd ever anticipate. But yeah, we've also talked about this before. Just the graphical leaps that you used to get with the new consoles just really hasn't been a thing. Like it was even minuscule going from a late stage PS3, Xbox 360 to Xbox One and PS4. Like yeah, oh my god, my particle effects. But outside of that, it wasn't that big of a difference. And then definitely PS4 to PS5. Nothing at all whatsoever. And we're still at this point in time not even factoring in the Switch 2, barely able, actually most even first party releases still have the option to either have a 4K 30 setting or a 1080p 60 setting, and even that you're still struggling to get consistent frame rates. Like we're not really advancing all that much. If Microsoft were to get out of the console making business, that would indeed be big news, and it would be unexpected given Xbox just recently signed a multi-year deal with AMD for future hardware. Yeah, exactly. But what are they working on? What is their future? Well, they want to go mobile, because the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X release date has been revealed, and yeah, it's coming out this October, and guess what? It's really fucking expensive because yeah, they sign these deals, okay? They get in bed with Asus ROG, okay? They're a high performance gaming brand. They get in bed with AMD because they still want to continue to make consoles, but do they really care if they sell that many of them? Not really, because they have Microsoft money at the end of the day. That's the thing with Sega, right? Like they could afford to continue making games. They couldn't afford to continue to take a loss on their consoles because they had Sega money. They don't have Microsoft money. But yes, the Ally and Ally X will launch on October 16th. Pre-orders will open up August 20th during Gamescom. Yeah, that's already been confirmed at this point in time. Yes, with prices aligning up, the rumors for the lesser console at €599 and $899 for the Xbox Ally X, bro, for a handheld console. Again, the Steam Deck provides intense value because honestly, all of these games that you can play on this as an Xbox, you can also play on that as an Xbox with your Steam Deck. They don't want to be in the business anymore because you take a look at their other competition, because now we're starting to see more concrete rumors in regards to the PS6, which is still, by all accounts, still years away, but we're starting to get some ideas what the specs are starting to look like. So PlayStation 6 is planned to have a detachable disc drive on launch because, yeah, for as much as Sony doesn't really have a subscription service to sell you, they still want to keep all of their purchases on platform in-house. They don't want to have to share everything out. Okay, they'll just keep their exclusivity window and then they'll port something off PC, but then they'll keep you within the PlayStation ecosystem by making sure that you're always logged into your PSN account. It's similar to what Xbox is doing, but there's still a distinction there that is worth differentiating. So yes, we're heading probably 2 generations later, but back when Sony was lampooning Microsoft for having the always online DRM Xbox One, well, now we're finally getting towards that with the PlayStation 6 because, yeah, just like the PS5 Pro, which was $750 for that hunk of shit. Wow, and you have to buy a disc drive, bro. What are we doing? That's what the PS6 is apparently going to be. Okay. So yes, the detachable hard drive was first introduced mid-generation for the PlayStation 5. Yes, for the PS5 Pro. The detachable disk drive was a means for PlayStation to reduce its production and shipping costs. Sure. For the next generation of the PlayStation, several sources who wish to remain anonymous because they were not authorized to talk about the company's plans have said the detachable disk drive is here to stay for the next generation, identical to the PlayStation 5 with its detachable drive. Customers will be able to buy the console individually as a digital console or bundled, yes, the PS6 for a traditional console, or upgrade later by purchasing, yes, the drive separately, according to one source. Unless things are changed at the last minute, PlayStation is firm on the decision because the disk drive for the PlayStation 5 hit all the company's internal targets. Again, it was reiterated by the source that the decision was made to reduce manufacturing and shipping costs during uncertain times. Yes, the uncertain times have seemingly influenced PlayStation's decision to look for the next PlayStation 2, as rumbling suggests that around this time the PlayStation 6 will have a much simpler design than its predecessor, again to maximize efficiency, shipping space, weight, and so on, which would be kind of fantastic, obviously. But yes, even as late as this month, we can expect PlayStation to introduce a new PlayStation Slim revision to the market. Okay, didn't hear about that. It will launch with an 825 gigabyte hard drive instead of the standard 1 terabyte, which is already, I think, kicking around at 825 because you have the the operating system and a couple of other things that are on there as well. But yes, the new revision will reduce the console's weight, indicating PlayStation is trying to save pennies where and when necessary. But also, they are, for the PlayStation 6, looking to get back into the mobile market because, yes, the updated PlayStation handheld leak by notorious and fairly reliable leaker Moore's Law is dead. Okay, so yeah, these are some of the leaked specs for PlayStation's upcoming mobile version for the PS6. Same or higher practical performance than the PS5, which would be quite amazing. Crushes the ROG Xbox Ally and much cheaper. Oh shit. Sony and Mark Cerny are very cautious about costs, targeting a reasonable prices for next gen. The speculation: $300 to $400 for the base model, something with a lesser specs, and then $550 to $700 for the PS6 Orion, your more performance suited model. I'll go ahead and link out, obviously, to all of the pictures and prompts, but as you can see, here's a bunch of specs that are there if you want to take a look at it. And Moore's Law is Dead has been pretty good when it comes to leaks in regards to the PS5's games and then also, its updates. I think he correctly nailed the PS5 Pro, but yes, the PS6, codename Orion, home console, and Canis, the PS6 handheld. Okay, 27, early 28, emphasize on cost, cheaper than the PS5 Pro. First party briefed this year, allegedly suggesting on-track timeline. But yeah, man, we are barreling towards a new and very digital gaming future in regards to the console market, which really does beg the question, right? Everything's moving towards digital, and they want to put their stores and they want to put their products on everything. What's even the point of consoles anymore? But we'll have to revisit this topic as we get more information, because as it sits right now, I kind of think that this upcoming Xbox is probably going to be the last Xbox. PlayStation is going to be the place where if somebody still wants to continue on console, that's where you're going to have to go. The Switch is going to just exist in order to play your Nintendo games, and the PC, yeah, that's going to be the place to play moving forward for everybody. As PC gaming has become more accessible in this past decade, it is only going to become more desirable, as all of your options when it comes to consoles are ostensibly stripped down, overpriced PCs, which has practically been the case for generations at this point. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Coswell, and I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.